Tuesday Seventh-day Adventists, a revival of original Adventism and ancient Christianity, presents Escape for Thy Life. Good day, this is Brother Medina for Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist, and please let us start with a word of prayer. Gracious loving Father, be with us as we enter into these facts. Help us to show the truth, to help people to be saved from this scourge and this crisis. In Jesus' holy name we pray, with thanksgiving unto Thee. Amen. Well, today our topic is the very air that we breathe. The very air that we breathe. And we say this because we want you to know that this Wuhan SARS coronavirus is in the very air that we breathe. Yes, my dear people. It is an airborne virus, but they have not been telling us this. The information that this country gets to deal with the virus is from the World Health Organization. And the information that the World Health Organization is using to feed other nations is from the Communist Party of China, the Chinese Communist Party. This party in China has lied about the origins of the virus, lied about how the virus functions, lied about many things concerning the virus. They have also lied about many of the other facts about it. And feeding the World Health Organization, today world leaders are identifying the World Health Organization as just an extension of the Chinese Communist Party. So that they are actually calling for the leader of the World Health Organization to resign, because they have brought this crisis upon us. And this is the reason why our government must now follow common sense policies and not everything that the World Health Organization says slavishly. Yes, some things are good, but also follow common sense policy based upon facts that you can find out that the World Health Organization will not tell you. For instance, on the 11th of February in Geneva, the World Health Organization had a meeting about the virus. In it, the leader of the World Health Organization told us that the virus was airborne. Not the way a health official in Trinidad answered a reporter and said. Not like that. He contrasted with the Ebola virus and said it was airborne and more deadly than the Ebola virus. For some reason, some people asked the selected media there to remove that information where he said it was airborne. The media complied. The video footage was also removed, but one organization kept the video footage, and that's how we were able to get it, to show you the actual video footage when he actually told us that the virus is airborne. Today they are lying and saying, no, it isn't airborne. And now they have come up with some Nancy story about airborne when they've seen about equipment and so on. Not so. So we want you to look at this first clip showing that it is indeed airborne.
Of course, Ebola and this are not the same. Ebola is lousy. This is airborne. Corona is airborne. 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 It's more contagious. And you have seen it how it went into 24 countries, although it's small number of cases. In terms of potential to wreak havoc, the corona is very different from Ebola. Corona has more potency, virulence.
Yes, my dear people, this is the facts about everything. Apparently someone wants us to get infected to cut the population of the earth down. And this is the reason why we tell you that you need to pay attention to these facts. Now scientists are actually finding that the virus is airborne. Listen to this clip.
So how exactly do you get COVID-19?
Well, we're still learning a lot about how transmission occurs, but then we know a lot too. It was humans who transmitted to other humans. And we recognize now that because there's such dynamic transmission, I mean it's more than 150 countries, it spreads very quickly, that just breathing itself is a very important part of the way it's transmitted. So as I breathe air in and out, obviously I need that. When I breathe out, the virus in some cases will just come out with my breath, and it will hang on very tiny particles that you can't see normally that I'm breathing out. If I get sick and I have a cough, it even becomes more pronounced what I'm breathing, and then you and I share breathing space, and that's how you get infected. Just breathing itself is a very important part of the way it's transmitted. So as I breathe air in and out, obviously I need that. When I breathe out, the virus in some cases will just come out with my breath, and it will hang on very tiny particles that you can't see normally that I'm breathing out. If I get sick and I have a cough, it even becomes more pronounced what I'm breathing, and then you and I share breathing space, and that's how you get infected. Just breathing itself is a very important part of the way it's transmitted. So as I breathe air in and out, obviously I need that. When I breathe out, the virus in some cases will just come out with my breath, and it will hang on very tiny particles that you can't see normally that I'm breathing out. If I get sick and I have a cough, it even becomes more pronounced what I'm breathing, and then you and I share breathing space, and that's how you get infected.
Well, can I ask a question? Because I was on the plane recently, I looked crazy because I had on masks and gloves. So can you explain why masks don't work?
Well, first of all, let's talk about which kind of mask. And I'll even mention the gloves too, because I think that's an important point. There are different kinds of masks that we have today.
Right.
One is the surgical mask, which actually comes from the term surgery, where in the original days of surgery, a surgeon would, and people working in the surgical area would put this on so that when they talked or breathed, they didn't basically put these particles from their mouth that were coming out as they talked into the incision of the patient. And so it was really never meant to protect the surgeon. It was meant to basically protect the patient. But we've learned that with certain kinds of agents or bacteria or viruses that can be excreted into the air, that in some cases surgical masks will work and will help a lot. In this case, however, because of the very tiny particles that this virus is attached to, surgical masks don't work well. Remember all the spaces on the side of the face you see? That air just goes right through and around. Now, the other kind of mask that people will call a mask is what we call a respirator, an N95 respirator. That's a very tight face-fitting mask, It has basically the ability for air to go through what appears to be paper, but actually it's what we call a matrix. It's a poured material that lets air through, but not viruses. And so in that case, with healthcare workers in particular, we want them to be protected. We want them to wear an N95 mask. So for people just wearing the surgical mask, it doesn't really help you in this disease. You mentioned gloves, and I think it's very important to emphasize. You've heard a lot about hand washing, and as somebody who works with a lot of infectious diseases that are transmitted in terms of foodborne and from people who don't wash their hands well enough after using the bathroom, yes, hand washing is important. But with this disease, we now have enough information to say that it doesn't occur very often from the environment at all, touching a doorknob or whatever, and then putting your hand to your eye. It may occur rarely, but the most important way is just breathing in the air.
Really?
Yes, hand washing is important. But with this disease, we now have enough information to say that it doesn't occur very often from the environment at all, touching a doorknob or whatever, and then putting your hand to your eye. It may occur rarely, but the most important way is just breathing in the air.
Really?
Yes, hand washing is important. But with this disease, we now have enough information to say that it doesn't occur very often from the environment at all, touching a doorknob or whatever, and then putting your hand to your eye. It may occur rarely, but the most important way is just breathing in the air.
Really?
Yes, hand washing is important. But with this disease, we now have enough information to say that it doesn't occur very often from the environment at all, touching a doorknob or whatever, and then putting your hand to your eye. It may occur rarely, but the most important way is just breathing in the air.
Really?
Wow.
Okay, so
Okay, now that's a
That's
clarification
different.
right there.
So are you saying that this COVID-19 is airborne, that it exists in the air, or is there a specific amount of time that it actually exists in the air?
Well, you know, some viruses are very capable of surviving long distances. We once had an outbreak here in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area when the Special Olympics came here, and on the opening night ceremony, a young man from Argentina was just coming down with measles, another type of viral infectious disease that can be transmitted via air. And he actually stood on what is home plate in this big stadium, an indoor stadium, and stood there all night. And next day we realized he had measles, and people who were there as part of the Special Olympics, a number of them came down with measles just from being near him. But we had a few cases that the only exposure they had to the opening night session was being at the Olympics, with that opening night session. And it turned out that they all sat in the upper right field bleachers, way up where nobody could hit a home run. And when we did the studies, we could show that the air came off of the infield behind home plate, and it bounced all the way up into the right field bleachers. And some 480 feet away, this young boy infected those people. Now, that's an extreme case of a virus moving. With this disease, we think it's more kind of a circle around a case, so not just 3 to 6 feet, but in a room like you're in right now, if one of you had this infection, you might be, over time, transmitted to everyone sitting around the table. So it's not going to go out of the room necessarily or whatever, but it could infect more people than just the person sitting next to you.
Okay, so it wouldn't travel beyond this room, though. So it's not the same
Well,
kind of virus like the measles.
We're thinking 3 to 6 feet essentially is the current information, correct?
Well, we're actually expanding that now that we know more. Just in the past week, even since you and I have talked previously, Dr. Smith, it has actually expanded a bit. And now that we know that they're in this very tiny particles in the air, so it's not going to be like in the baseball stadium, but surely in a room like this, it could in fact occur. And think of that with regard to the different cruise ship outbreaks we had.
Right.
The Diamond Princess, where hundreds of people became infected. We now have good reason to know that the virus moved through the air circulation between rooms in the inner cabins. So that wasn't 3 to 6 feet. That was throughout the cabins of the entire ship. And so it can do that.
So you see, they won't tell you that it is airborne just so. But now in various areas, we have found that the virus is airborne. When the virus is in the air, you can breathe it in. And from an infected person, the person can breathe it out. They can talk and it will be in the air, and it can infect a person in a room. more than one person. Social distancing can only work to a certain extent. Social distancing does not work good enough, because scientific documents have shown that people in a large room can be infected with the virus because it can last 3 hours in the air, floating in very micro salival particles. Yes, my dear people. And that people are infected more that way than by coughing and sneezing and touching. But they won't tell you that. This is the reason why we are telling you masks are the best way to go. Get some face masks and get your glasses to protect yourself. Yes, my dear people. Here is research that is proving that the virus is airborne when a person sneezes, cough, or even just talk. This is scientific research being shown to you here in video footage. Look at how we are more accurate than the Ministry of Health. They can find these things out, they can show you. If we can know it, why can't they know it? Why can't they search and find these facts and have common sense policy? And stop slavishly following a discredited organization, the World Health Organization. Listen, when this whole thing is passed, that organization will be revamped and people will be fired. They're already calling for the leader to be removed. So let us look and see now, my dear people, from this clip, the real facts about the virus in the air.
So far, we have considered two main routes of transmission. One is infection by coming into contact with something that has the virus on it. The other is infection through droplets emitted in sneezes and coughs. But some experts say there's possibly a third infection route. Experts are now looking at this new infection mechanism as the key to preventing the further spread of the virus.
ただの会話の中で感染が広がっているとか、ある程度の距離があってもそれが広がっているような、そういった事例を見ると、通常の飛沫感染だけでは説明できない。非常に小さな粒子ということで、マイクロメーターの粒子、マイクロ飛沫感染とも呼べるような、そういった状況が起きたんじゃないかなというふうに考えられます。
So how does this take place? NHK is conducting an experiment with a group of researchers.
はい、レーザーください。
The team will track particles in the air using laser beams and a high-sensitivity camera. This technology allows us to detect droplets as small as 0.1 micrometers wide. The experiment starts. First, sneezing. We can see a large droplet about 1 millimeter in diameter. It quickly falls. But let's look through the high-sensitivity camera. We can see small particles that seem to glitter floating through the air. These particles are all smaller than 10 micrometers, or 1/100th of a millimeter in diameter. Let's take a look from a different angle. They're small and light. You can see them drifting through the air. These are microdroplets. We're learning that sneezing isn't the only source of these droplets.
バナナボートとか乗ったら楽しいですよ。
いや、絶対楽しい、ね。
めちゃくちゃ楽しい。僕、
We ran the same experiment on a close-range conversation. People generate a lot of microdroplets when they talk loudly. The droplets between these two stay where they are. They don't drift away. It's not yet known what volume of microdroplets leads to infection. But Tateda says we can't rule out the possibility that microdroplets have spread the virus to some extent.
そのマイクロ飛沫、小さな粒子の中にもたくさんのですね、生きたウイルスがいて、大きな声での会話、あるいは激しい息遣い、そういった中でですね、このマイクロ飛沫ができて、それが近くの人、その人が吸い込むことによって感染が広がる、そういったリスクが見えてきたものと思います。
The risk of infection through microdroplets becomes even greater in a closed space with poor ventilation. This lab is simulating the movement of microdroplets in an airtight room. About 10 people in an enclosed space the size of a classroom. A person coughs once and spreads about 100,000 droplets. Large droplets are shown in blue and green. Most of these fall to the ground within 1 minute. But the microdroplets, shown in red, continue to drift. This simulation uses only microdroplets. 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, the microdroplets are still floating in place.
空気がよどんでいると、つまり空気の流れがないということで、マイクロ飛沫そのものは、落ちたり、違う場所に動くことはできませんので、長時間その場所にとどまるっていうことになります。
But there is a way to prevent this stagnation of microdroplets. Opening windows and increasing air circulation is believed to be effective. When you open a window, microdroplets are quickly swept away. They're very small and light, so any airflow will get rid of them.
できればですね、2箇所開けて風の流れを作ってあげるということが大事。それが1時間に1回でもいいから、そういうようなことをやることによって感染のリスクというのはかなり下げることができるようになるんじゃないかなというふうに思います。
And in the light of all of this, what is the best policy to do? You have these people in the government always speaking against mask wearing. They give you the impression it is only sick people should wear masks. That's a lie. That is not true. Yes, if you have the virus and you are coughing or sneezing or whatever, the mask can stop it from going to other people. But if another person is coughing without a mask, or if the person is just even talking to you or breathing up without a mask, and you don't have a mask, you can get it too. The mask could protect you. So 2 ways they get protected. From the person who have the mask on if they are sick, and from the person who have a mask on if they are not sick. So both can get protection. This is the reason why the Czech Republic has ordered people to wear masks. And as of today, Austria has ordered all people by law, if you're going in any grocery where a large concentration of people are, wear masks. But this government just don't seem to get that straight. They think only health workers should be protected. What about you? What about me? We all should be protected too. So let us look at this clip that shows us scientifically being proven that masks do protect us.
We have an important message for all of you, especially if you live in a country that is right now facing the new coronavirus. The pandemic is growing exponentially in many countries. But the Czech Republic is one of the few in Europe that has significantly slowed down the spread of the virus. In this video, we would like to tell you what we did differently, and mainly, we would like to help you to do the same. We are following social distancing and the rules stay at home. But others do that too. We also have strict hygienic procedures. Others do that as well. But the main difference is everyone who has to leave their house has to wear a face mask. Everyone. I know, they may be told you that masks wouldn't protect you, but there are studies proving that even a homemade mask can be partially protective. Partially. Any protection is essential today. But now the more important thing. Masks fundamentally prevent the transmission from you to others by sneezing, coughing, but also breathing. And many people are the most contagious before they start showing symptoms. So, when we both have a face mask, I protect you, you protect me, and we are both safe. Masks fundamentally prevent the transmission from you to others by sneezing, coughing, but also breathing. And many people are the most contagious before they start showing symptoms. So, when we both have a face mask, I protect you, you protect me, and we are both safe. Masks fundamentally prevent the transmission from you to others by sneezing, coughing, but also breathing. And many people are the most contagious before they start showing symptoms. So, when we both have a face mask, I protect you, you protect me, and we are both safe. Masks fundamentally prevent the transmission from you to others by sneezing, coughing, but also breathing. And many people are the most contagious before they start showing symptoms. So, when we both have a face mask, I protect you, you protect me, and we are both safe.
Based on recent data, we know that population-wide use of masks is essential for suppression of the outbreak.
According to our professional experience, a simple homemade mask can prevent up to 100% of the spread of potentially infected microdroplets.
The more people use masks, the less virus can be distributed and fewer individuals are exposed.
Just a few days ago, people were laughing at those who wore masks. But some people knew about this positive effect and started to share this information across social media. The message grew fast through artists, influencers, and others. I know, face masks aren't in stores, right? But something incredible happened. People started making homemade masks and giving them to others for free. Many companies, theaters, or even retirement houses changed their buildings into sewing rooms, and thousands of people started to sew masks at home. So we know that face masks work, and it has been repeatedly confirmed by scientists. So we know that face masks work, and it has been repeatedly confirmed by scientists. So we know that face masks work, and it has been repeatedly confirmed by scientists. So we know that face masks work, and it has been repeatedly confirmed by scientists. We know that it is possible in just 3 days to provide face masks for 10 million people in one country. And we know that here we have fundamentally repressed the infection. Please share this knowledge and help us to change as many countries as possible. Take a picture with your face mask on and share it with the hashtag #MasksForAll. It can really save lives. And remember, I protect you, you protect me.
In conclusion, if the government know that they don't have much masks, don't take from China, because over 650-something thousand masks have been sent back to China because the filtering is not working good. Don't take shoddy, poor Chinese quality goods. What you need to do is to commission factories here in Trinidad to make masks for yourself. We, our church, are making our own masks. And listen to this, the government didn't tell you this, we are telling you this. The size of the coronavirus is between 0.06 to 0.14 micron. And even the surgical mask can keep out up to 0.007 micron. And worse yet, it can keep out much, much more if you use the N95 mask. We are making our own mask and it can keep out the coronavirus. You heard that from Tuesday Seventh-day Adventists. So let the government commission factories to make masks. Make your own masks. And let people get them to wear them. It is the best way to go. It is about time to have common sense policy and stop slavishly following the discredited World Health Organization. And for God's sake, stop taking test kits from China. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of test kits have been sent back by Turkey, by Spain, by Denmark, by the Netherlands, because those test kits are only 30% accurate. And you can have people walk in the street who have tested to be negative, and yet they have the virus. Germany has the best test kits. Look, we know that, and we are not the Ministry of Health. Why can't you know that? And import from Germany, they will send for you. So we are asking the government to do better, do a better job than this, and use common sense policy. May God help all of us that we will be saved before it is too late. In Jesus' holy name, amen.